Take a Ride podcast. I'm your host here, Starks. You can find me on my Twitter handle. It's at Starks_industry. You can also find me on Instagram, One Closing Hero. I'm not here alone this evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you may be in the fantasy world. I have the two-man running the combo. That is Jacob, the Whight Knight. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing well, brother. Blessed to be here with you, gentlemen, and happy to talk sports with you guys.
Awesome. And we got the three-man running the wing, LT the Sage. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing all right, man. Ready to get going, get some of these games. Some interesting stuff has occurred, so ready to talk about it.
Good. And again, it looks like I'm at the bottom of the screen. I'm sure is LT's dirty of a rival, and I don't know why that is, but, we're going to see what's going to go on here. So with this episode in particular, we're just going to go over recent news. And if anything pops up as we're recording while games are going on, we're going to bring you guys content. But we're going to speed this offense up a little bit more efficiently. So with that being said, I'm ready to take people on for a ride. And Jacob, go ahead and run that ball on. Oh, actually, before we run that ball, look at that beautiful site. So newlifefantasy.com, you guys, check it out. The articles is up. And LT, you might want to refresh that page because that's old, you lazy bum. So in that saying that, if you look at the website, it's changed a little bit. We altered a few things. We sped it up to help for you guys to get you that access as quickly as possible. You see that join our mailing list. It popped up right in front of your screen. It's almost like spam right now. You go ahead and just join and grab into the email list, join as a member, subscribe to the mailing list at the bottom. And if you could scroll back up, LT, Whight Knight just dropped the article on Lauri Markkanen. So that's a nice read that you need to check out on newlifefantasy.com. For those that don't know, look at that beautiful artwork as well as that article. So you guys check that out. Make sure you let Jacob know any thoughts on his article, man, so he can feel good about himself, right? And then with that said, I am officially ready to pass the ball there. Jacob, you want to run the offense there on the game that's going on right now, brother?
Absolutely. Some big news that I wanted to bring up here is that Paul George is finally making his long-awaited return here. He's being listed as questionable, so they don't know whether he'll play tomorrow or on Thursday. But all signs point to him playing this week, which is huge news for all of you Paul George owners and all of you, all of you Clipper fans and stuff. So from a fantasy perspective, I want to pass the ball to you, Starks. Who do you think this will affect the most? And do you think this will cause Kawhi to take more time off, less time off because he wants to play with Paul George? And who in specific do you think is going to be negatively impacted there?
To be honest with you, it could be Montrez, but I think people can kind of get that misconstrued or misleading at point of times because he's a guy that's going to get the easy baskets, and I think he's going to actually help complement them in particular. As far as Kawhi goes with Paul George, I think they're going to try to have them more on the court so that way they can mesh well and figure themselves out on the team. I'm sure they've practiced together and stuff of that nature, but I think it only makes sense for them to be on the court to see how the team gels and how Doc Rivers operates the offense. But if there's anybody, because I think Shamet got hurt in this game in particular, but I think a person that's going to probably take the most impact is going to be probably one of my original guys, as LT would know, Sweet Lou in the Clippers. So, him being a sixth man, I think his role is going to diminish a little bit, but he's still going to offer some value there for LA Clippers in particular. But, that's where I stand there. If, any more thoughts that come across my mind, I'll bring it up. LT, I will pass you the ball. What's your thoughts on this Paul George potential comeback?
Yeah, definitely. I actually was thinking that it was going to affect Shamet, but he's hurt. So
Right.
and it looks like that's going to be a multi-week injury as well. So to be honest, the rotations won't be too different. Like you stated before, Montrez is going to get some hurt. Mo Harkless, maybe some extra time there. I think he was kind of filling in that Paul George role, but you probably don't own Harkless in any leagues, listeners out there. So
if you're in a deep league, you probably do.
Deep league maybe.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I don't. To be honest, he's not going to change too much just because of that Shaman injury. Kind of opened up everybody to still take some of Shaman's minutes. So that's all I got right there. It's going to be interesting to see how good this team is with Paul George on the floor for sure.
Absolutely. That's a solid point for sure. So the next news I wanted to get out there is Eric Gordon. Now, we were talking about him last night and how he was probably going to step up in Daniel House Jr.'s place as he's hurt. And now he's expected to undergo knee surgery. He's out for at least 6 weeks. So that's going to open the door for a guy that we cringe at, but it's going to be Ben McLemore, right? I mean, like that's just the assumption here. But I think I know the player that's on Starks' mind right now, and I'm going to pass the ball to you, Starks, again, and I'll let you talk about someone who either should get run or might get run.
Yeah, so it's the double C guy, right? Is it Chris Clemson?
Yep.
Is that right?
Chris.
Yeah, so I definitely hope. Chris, what? I'm sorry.
Chris Clemens. Mm-hmm.
Chris Clemens, thank you. So hopefully he gets the opportunity, but again, it could be wishful thinking. And again, I also want to let you listeners know I'm having some technical difficulties. So just be patient with me with my quality side of things. So I'm still super. What am I trying to say? Super freestyling here. But the thing is about Chris Clemens in particular, I think he's a guy that should get some run, hopefully, at this point in time. But the sad thing is Houston going to allow him to get that time? And it's funny. I know I always say Ben McLemore, like I think he's good. I'm just letting the listeners know I don't think he's a good player, but I just always think it's funny to bring his name up, right? But, he's going to get some run, and he's definitely and it's probably hard for all of us to stomach. But if you're in a deep league, I mean, why not take a flyer on him? I mean, he's not going to give you those sexy stats. But if there's a stat that's really important that's overlooked, it's minutes, as Jacob would say. So if you're going to get run on the court, you're going to fall in some lucky stats. And, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to always get good stats because you get minutes. But if you get minutes, there's opportunity there. So that's what I think there. And Clemens, I really hope he gets some run at some point in time. I know he was a darling throughout the summer league and preseason and stuff of that nature. But, obviously that stuff doesn't transition in the NBA, but it's also one of those things to kind of look at. So I'll pass you the ball there, Sage. What you think, man?
Hey, appreciate it, man. One other person, I don't got too much to add. That's pretty much, I know Clemens is your deep league guy, but I do want to mention Austin Rivers. Austin Rivers is probably going to end up – Austin Rivers is probably – oh, would you say White Knight?
Oh, no. I was just saying that's a good point. Sorry, brother.
Oh no, you're good, man. No, yeah, Austin Rivers is probably going to soak up some extra minutes if the Rivers flow, right? He's probably going to soak up some more minutes with Gordon going out. So I would look out for Austin Rivers maybe in deep leagues if he's available. Ben McLemore though is the obvious pickup here. He's going to be soaking up a lot of those extra minutes, especially until House comes back. So definitely look out for, I can't believe I'm saying this, Ben McLemore for sure. Pass the rock to you, White Knight.
Right. Absolutely. I agree. It's now that you said that, it's definitely going to be Austin Rivers, and I'm hoping for Chris Clemens as well, just because he had such a good preseason. Once we wrote that Fool's Gold versus Gold article about the preseason, I said, like he was going off. He got a bunch of minutes. He scored a lot. He got you some stock stats. But I said, obviously, it's going to be Fool's Gold because just because they weren't going to give him minutes because they don't need him. But now with all these injuries, they could definitely use his scoring touch. So really hoping for that. We're going to cross our fingers. And like you said, Starks, in deep leagues, I would definitely add him in like 18-man, 20-man leagues for sure. So the last big news, and it actually just hit here, is that he went to the locker room. He had a really hard shot to his left from the Joker as they were playing the Nuggets. So I personally haven't seen the hit, but I was told that it looked bad. So that stinks for a guy who is just getting his minutes lifted. And so now my guess is that DeAndre Bembry is going to soak up a lot of minutes. So he is definitely worth a look in some 12-man leagues, but definitely 14 and 16-man leagues until we hear a clear word about what Porter's situation is. But I want to pass the ball to you, LT. I see that you're looking at the Hawks game right now. Is there anything that you see over there of note?
No, you're exactly right. If Herter got hurt, then DeAndre Bembry is definitely going to be the one soaking up minutes there. That kind of sucks, right? You guys been talking about Herter, and guy that I hadn't even had my eye on, but you guys been talking about him getting those minutes lifted, finally getting the opportunity to show what he has, and for him to get hurt, hopefully it's something that he can come back to or come back from in a reasonable amount of time. But yeah, you're looking at Bembry, and then Starks. Is there any deep league guys, dandies on the Hawks you know about that might come out of nowhere? Maybe Cam Reddish?
Yes. So real quick, can you guys hear me? Because I've had a hard time hearing you guys on all that stuff there. Can you hear me good?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I think if there's anything, I'm just going to assume it was Kevin Herter. I think that was what I heard about the injury, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Okay, so in his place, I think then White Knight had touched up on Bembry, and I think you also did as well, LT. So that makes sense on Bembry. I think Cam Reddish is going to be a guy, and actually we're recording while games are going on, and I did get a report that Anthony Davis heads to the locker room. So we'll be on the look at that. I mean, that's nothing new under the sun, right? Yeah, here we go again. But Cam Reddish, and I know it's like DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish, just like who's going to be the better Atlanta Hawk rookie. I think Cam Reddish, well, I wouldn't say who I think is going to be better, but what I am going to say is with Herter out, if he's going to be out an extended amount of time, they need to have Cam Reddish to get some more opportunity there in Atlanta with the fast-paced offense. And obviously with the starters, they're going to get a nice boost in, the usage rate across the board. So that's really the pickup there. And I'll pass you back the ball there, Jacob.
Absolutely. I agree with you there. Yeah, and I just want to say it's really weird that they are starting what was that, Damian Jones at center when, Alex Len is healthy, and Bruno Fernando, but they want to start Damian Jones. So that is maddening because no one owns him, apart from super deep leagues, and no one thought that he would do anything. But he's having a pretty solid game. So he is definitely worth an add now that he's starting because Alex Len's healthy and Bruno is healthy. So you have to think this isn't a start because anyone's hurt. So, I mean, he's definitely worth a look after tonight. He's not getting a ton of minutes because Bembry's going to get those minutes. But with Werder out, he might even get some more. So that's all of the top news we have for today. So if we want to transition to the games, I'll pass the ball to you there, LT.
Yeah, definitely. We can go ahead and look at some games I actually finished. I'll go ahead and switch over to this Detroit game. I know you guys want to go ahead and talk to me about how Rose didn't play in a back-to-back set. Neither did Blake Griffin. So both of them looks like they didn't want to play them in a back-to-back. They did lose this one, 108-117 to Miami. Looking at the Detroit side, Luke, Luke, I am your father, Kennard. Darth Vader. Luke Skywalker is just taking over. He's actually had a really great tear the last couple of games. 22 points, 2 steals, 5 assists, 2 for 3 from the charity stripe, and took 12 threes tonight out of 18 shots. Took 12. So he was really aggressive from the three. That's you guys' guy. Any thoughts on this game, White Knight?
But let me steal the ball real quick.
Go ahead.
I got a report here I wouldn't say a report, but I got a listener question while we're recording live. I think this was a Dynasty question. I think it was a 20-man. I can barely see it, but it's a 20-man league. He asked me earlier, do I take Wannabe? Gosh, you guys probably missed my face there. Wannabe or who's the other guy? Goodness, who did he just say? Hold on for a minute. So it was Wannabe or JaVale McGee. I said I would just take the Wannabe guy from Boston, right? Just because and he said it's a win now situation. I said, well, I'll just take the risk on Wannabe. We know what JaVale McGee is. It's not to say McGee can't bounce back to the player he can be, but as Jacob had, noticed, and I'm sure that LT noticed, I talked about him earlier, a little bit in the season, just because of the injury of G. Hay, that he's getting a little bit more minutes. He's not going to be a world beater by any means, but I think he's an option that you can take into consideration in the deep league. So his question was, I have $200 fab budget, and I'm trying to get him, now. So if you have a $200 fab budget, so for those as free agency acquisition budget in a league, how much would you pay on him, Jacob? How much would you put on him, you think, man?
Yeah, so first of all, I agree. I'm going to take a chance on Wanamaker just because we already know what McGee is, and he is behind Howard. He's not getting that many minutes, even though he gets you a block here and there, which is great. But Wanamaker for sure. I would, out of a $200 budget in a 20-man league, that definitely spikes it up a little bit. I personally would probably spend somewhere between $25 and $30. I don't know if that's a little bit too rich for your guys' blood, but I mean, he's getting the opportunity, and Hayward's definitely out for 6 weeks or longer, and that's valuable production. So I think I would be comfortable putting down around $30. What do you think, LT?
Yeah, in a 20-man league, definitely. I would say maybe 20 to 25, especially since you're trying to win now. You're trying to get that production coming in. He has, I'm showing the listeners right now, look at his minute production has definitely taken an uptick since that G. Hay injury. So he's getting a little bit more minutes, about 20 minutes last game, and he actually produced pretty well, especially if you're a 20-man league. You definitely would love those stats on your side. So, yeah, you might want to go a little aggressive. 25 is where I would stay at. Just because, with 200, if you have a full 200 budget, 25, I think that still leaves you with a good amount just in case another big free agency comes through that you need to pay some big butts on. What do you think, Starks?
I think 25 is fair. 30 if you really want him. I'm with Jacob too on that. If you really want the player, go get him. And the thing is with me, I am an aggressive type of GM. So if I really believe that the league is going to be harping on him, I'm going to pay the bucks for the player. He just, unfortunately, he's not like a Chris Boucher type of player. But if he was, I'd probably be a little bit more aggressive in that aspect in the Dynasty format. And honestly, he shouldn't be available in those type of leagues as far as Chris Boucher goes. But go ahead and run that ball there, Jacob. I'm sorry. I just had to get that listener question out.
Absolutely, man. That was a good question. Yeah, so if we wanted to transition back to Pistons now. So since Rose was out and Blake was out, Bruce Brown Jr., who is usually a shooting guard, small forward, but he got the start at point guard, and he dished out 11 dimes. So he has that. He has that playmaking ability. He's just going to be buried, as long as Rose is healthy and Blake's healthy. So temper expectations. He's definitely he got the start over Tim Frazier because, as we already knew, and as the Pistons are finding out, Tim Frazier's just not that good. So
And as LT would say, he sucks. But go ahead, Jacob.
Oh, yes. Well, yeah.
That's me.
Down goes Frazier.
Stop.
Down goes Frazier. I mean, he still got 13 minutes, but he was 0 for 3. He did nothing. If you can't get those minutes when your stars are out, then it doesn't bode well for your outlook. But yeah, I mean, it was nice to see that Bruce Brown Jr. was a playmaker tonight. He didn't score much. He got 3 points, but he was just passing. 11 assists, 7 rebounds, and it seems like he was passing to Andre Drummond and Luke, I am your father, Kennard. So, I mean, a great game by the Pistons, even though they lost. And so just a few stat lines from the Heat there before I pass you the ball there, Starks. Kendrick Nunn finally had a great game. He was 6 for 16. I mean, that's not a great efficiency, but he had 20 points, five assists, 2 steals, 3 boards, and hit 4 snipes. I want to pass the ball to you there, Starks, because Nunn I've been getting a few questions on if I should go ahead and add him. Should I spend a waiver priority? Should I spend money up because he was just dropped? I mean, I'm going to pass the ball to you there, Starks. What do you think?
Okay, this is what I think here, and I'm gonna be honest with you. You guys know I love Kendrick Nunn. It's either it's bar none or nothing, right? Or it's none or the above, right?
Yeah.
But let me say it like this: I think in this game in particular, this is hard for me to say. You almost want to sell high because from what I remember, although like you said, Jake, this wasn't an efficient game at all. It was inefficient. But what I realized in this game is I don't think Tyler Hero played in this game. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Right. So you could take this in particular and you could reach out to a GM and says, hey, here's your cheat code. You'd be like, hey, so you reach out to an owner, but like, everybody started thinking, he started to creep back down in the rankings. Well, it's so, right? And look at this game. He's still official. He just wasn't efficient. But, as long as the owner doesn't know, and probably they do or they don't, but you can just be like, well, look what he did tonight. He was inefficient, but he still put up good stats, right? But this obviously comes on the heels of Tyler Hero not playing. So that's not to say Tyler Hero's better or Kendrick Nunn is better, but that's something to take in consideration. I still like Kendrick Nunn. And honestly, in a deep dynasty format, I'm holding on to him. But if I'm able to dial a GM, I will still try. If a GM is willing to trade with me with him, then that's cool. Honestly, there could still be a potential expiration date, as Jacob would say, on this player. And I hate to say that, but I still like him. And I'm going to basically, for myself, I'm probably going to ride him to the wheels fall off. So I'll pass you the ball there, LT.
Yeah, no, that's your guy, Kendrick Nunn. And to be honest, as far as his play is concerned, Tyler Hero was not in the game. Hopefully, I don't think the Tyler Hero injury is serious from what I read earlier. But he's still getting minutes. So, I mean, if you have Kendrick Nunn, especially in the dynasty format, you want to keep him. But I wanted to talk about Bam Bam Bigelow out of bio. And he had such a great game tonight. 8 for 9 from field goal, 2 for 2 from the free throws, 14 rebounds. And he he did foul out of the game, but he had 18 points. That's a great game from Bam. And I know there was a lot of, clamoring earlier in the season for Bam to kind of do good this year. So hopefully he can start stringing some really, really efficient games together. And we haven't talked too much about Jimmy Butler. But Jimmy Butler, we haven't talked too much about him, but ever since he came back, he's been just killing it. So I just wanted to mention that he's been a super. If you held him, picked him up, probably got to cut a coupon on him. If you held him, you're liking the production he's bringing on a daily game-to-game basis. So I just wanted to go ahead and mention that.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, and it's really nice to see Dragic. He played up tonight. So he really wants to get traded to a contender for sure here. But yeah, I mean, that's a great night. And I mean, it's a great sign that Kendrick Nunn, he got 37 minutes tonight. I mean, that bodes well that he's still going to get those minutes even when Tyler Hero comes. I mean, he's going to get somewhere between 25 and 32 minutes. So he's still going to get you some some stock stats and some points. So I'm going to pass the ball back to you, LT. Is there another game that you want to touch up on?
Let me steal the ball real quick. I just want to steal the ball. So that is definitely a good logic there on Kendrick Nunn, especially the minutes that he got tonight. But I'm still a little concerned because his minutes actually, from what I remember, like I said, I don't have my information up, his minutes has been on a trending down. So hopefully that, like you said, and real quick, Anthony Davis, wow, he came back on the bench and then he goes back to the locker room. So good Lord. Hopefully he's all right, but it's just one of those things. And I'm probably going to get the villain tag on me. But as far as, I just can never, it's not that I don't like Anthony Davis because I love him as a fantasy player. But I just can't pay in a dynasty format a number one pick for him just because of this. And I know it's like, well, Starks, he's played 70 plus games the last couple of years, but I don't, I can't fathom a player to keep going in and out of the locker room in particular, because it's still a risk. And, that's where we're at. And hopefully things get better with him. But just real quick on Kendrick Nunn, just to get off this ISO rant, his minutes from what I remember was on a downward slightly spiral. So let me pull that up, LT. Thank you there. Do I see the minutes? No, I do not. Do you got the minute? Oh yeah. So look at that. So those are kind of weird minutes there. So 32 minutes on the 5th of November, and then the 7th and 8th, the last two games was 22, 23 minutes, and you see that November 3rd game of 19 minutes. That's when obviously Jimmy Butler's been playing, and that's what I'm concerned about a little bit. But hopefully, like Jacob said, if he can elapse to 25 to 32 minutes, I'm going to love that, and I'll be fine. But go ahead, LT. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine, man. Always steal the ball from me. All right, so the next game I wanted to, if I can click on the bar, the next game I wanted to talk about, Cavs versus the Sixers. I'm gonna pass the ball to you, Starks.
Oh man!
Real quick, did you hear about Triscuits or Biscuits in this game?
No, please tell me what happened.
Okay, so Triscuits or Biscuits hit 2 snipes.
Shut up, man.
2 snipes in this game. One snipe was he brought the ball up the court.
No, he didn't.
Brought the ball up the court.
No, he did.
And pulled from the 3-point line.
Hey, no, he didn't.
He did. Now, no one was sticking him because they were like, he's not going to shoot a 3. So they were like backing up. And he said, all right, I'm going to pull it. Pulled it, hit it. And then did another one later in the game. Hit 2 snipes, 7 for 13, 12 rebounds, 1 steal. Oh my God, this dude is in 17 points. He is killing it right now. Even giving you threes, I can't take it anymore with this guy. Oh man, so let me steal
the ball, and I'm gonna pass it back to you, LT.
Okay,
LT. So with this production that he's doing right now, right? Do you think it's sustainable all year?
Oh, you do?
I don't. What he's doing now, no. But I feel like he's still in that area of a double guy. I just feel like he is a an average of a double. Now he's gonna get you 2 snipes? No,
stop dancing.
There's no
stop
way.
Dancing. Listen, grab the ball and take the shot, man.
Hey, man.
Is this going to be sustainable all year? I got to know, man.
Oh, man. I can't believe I'm about to say this. But yes, I don't see anybody taking I don't see it. I see this as being sustainable. If he keeps his minutes and doesn't get hurt, who's going to stop him? Kevin Love's probably going to get shipped out. What are we worried about? Larry Nance? Come on now. I mean, come on now. I think so. Just because he has the opportunity. Wasteland team. He's getting the minutes. Yeah.
And I'm going to steal the ball from you. And White Knight, is this sustainable all season?
All right. No, I definitely don't think so. I mean, like, I mean, like, it's great that he's doing this for the first 10 games of the season, but I think he's going to wear down as the season goes. If he doesn't get shipped off before then as a backup to a contender, he's going to slow down. But, I mean, it's awesome to see. It's a lot of fun. And the only 3 that he missed tonight was just because I think it was like the shot clock was he did like a spin move, and like it was almost like a half court shot.
What?
So
spin move.
Yeah, it was weird.
He did a spin move.
He was out. He was balling tonight, man.
Spin move, man, for sure. But I'm not going to take anything away. I mean, like, look at those stats. I mean, like, he's killing it. If you drafted him with your last pick, if you picked him up off waiver, he's killing it for you. Definitely sell as high as you can. Please sell as high as you possibly can, because I just don't see this sustaining at all. I'm going to pass the ball to you, Starks. What do you think?
I'm going to be honest to you guys. I just wanted to put you guys in that spot because I didn't want to answer this. I say this. I really don't know, but so what seems logical is to sell him like hotcakes. But to be honest with you, all this stuff that's been going on. Listen, I thought this was gonna end a lot sooner than what's going on now. This is still going on now. But I think what's really against him is kind of the main thing that I think about is the Wasteland team, right? Mm-hmm. So if that's obviously Cleveland, they continue to lose. I don't see what the point is to continue to start him unless, you're showcasing him to get moved and shipped out to a different team, right? But, this is definitely a good surprise. And I'll say this. I wouldn't be surprised if he does this all season. Do I honestly think? No, just because of how poor the team is in particular. Mm-hmm. And LT, honestly, I can almost agree. I can almost it's a weak moment. It's a cop-out move to say it could be. Because I side with both you guys in this aspect. But if I have to make a decision and take the shot, I just think it is still slightly a sell high in this aspect but the thing is, how long is this going to go? Just because we think Kevin Love is going to go doesn't necessarily mean he's going to go, right? He could still stay in Cleveland. In Cleveland, why not? They could just keep playing Tristan Thompson. That's something that could potentially happen. We don't know. I mean, we can put our analytical thoughts into it, but it doesn't always necessarily mean it's going to happen. So I'll pass you back the ball, LT. White Knight to move forward on this. Oh
no, yeah. I was gonna say real quick, they almost beat the 76ers. I mean, it went down to the wire again, and in a game where Embiid absolutely went crazy, 10 for 20, 16 rebounds, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 27 points. He went absolutely crazy, and Cavs only lost by 1. So, I mean, maybe they think, I have a couple of friends at work that are Cavs fans, and they're like, we need to lose more. They don't want to win. Yeah. And so, but I mean, Clarkson had a great game for the Cavs. If you have Clarkson in a deep league format, I mean, he's been performing pretty well for you, especially in points leagues. I'm going to pass the ball over to White Knight. Anybody from Philadelphia you wanted to touch on?
Yeah, so our boy Ben Simmons returned tonight. He actually had a decent game. Just a wild guess. How many threes do you think that he took tonight, guys?
Zero.
So,
does Tristan have more threes than Ben Simmons on the year?
Shut up. Yes.
Ben Simmons has 0 threes for the whole season. I don't know if he's even taken a 3 this year. I could be corrected, maybe 1, and it was probably like a half-court heave, I assume. But he's not taking those threes. I never ever believed that hype that he was going to take threes or make more than 5. But hey, he got you 2 steals, 2 blocks, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, and 15 points, and efficient 9. So he's doing what Ben Simmons does efficiently, because he's not taking any shots outside of 5 feet. Like, this is just who he is, and we need to stop expecting him to be anything more. So I'll get to that off of that little rant there. But one more player that I'm a little bit concerned with is Matisse Thybulle. I'm not concerned with him in deep leagues. I'm going to ask you about that, Starks, here in a second. But, I mean, he played only 12 minutes, so his minutes are going down in favor of Korkmaz, which I don't know why. But, you know, Thybulle, he's still developing as a rookie. But in those 12 minutes, he was 1 for 1, 1 3-pointer, 3 blocks, and 2 steals. I mean, if we could just convince the Sixers coach to just play him, he would be a fantasy, like, more than just a fantasy dandy. He'd be a fantasy monster. But I'm going to pass the ball to you there, Stark. In deep dynasty leagues or even in shallow dynasty leagues, I know that he's owned in a lot of 12-man dynasty leagues and 14-man dynasty leagues. Are you still holding on to him if you are competing?
So if you're competing, that would be a little bit different. So what I would actually do, and you're almost like, if you're like in a 12 to 14 man, it's really tough, and especially in the dynasty format. And it's like if you're like kind of starting to drown, then I know this is not a popular thing to do, but you could still dial the GM and still sell it to him versus cutting him, and you might be able to get a valuable player that's like an older veteran type of player for your team to eke out those wins for the weeks to get you in the playoffs versus someone that's already in the top standings that's willing to hold on to Matisse Thybulle, because Matisse, just like, you know, Jacob, and just like LT, I think we're all universally like this guy in particular because he can provide those stats. It's just the inconsistencies of the minutes. And looking at this, thank you for giving me that, LT. Tobias Harris, oh, man, wow, what a game that he had. He missed all 11 of his shots. Super inefficient, 4 for 17. But just like you mentioned, White Knight, that I think, because, you know, I dabble into the deeper league formats. Furkan Korkmaz is, I think I was able to get him in a shallow redraft league. He is someone not to get excited about, but if you're getting those minutes, it's definitely handy and valuable, especially getting 31 minutes as a starter in Philadelphia. I'm going to jump all over that because he's going to fall in. He's a scorer and hit some threes from time to time, but I think he's going to fall into some lucky stats, right? So from time to time, he's definitely worth an ad in a deep format, and I'm okay with that. As far as Thybulle goes, or Thybulle, as LT would say, this is an unfortunate situation, but I think things can change for him later in the season where he'll get more minutes. LT, what's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, if you remember, Korkmaz hit that game winner. Of course, I remember that because I think it was against my Blazers. But so of course I remember that. But yeah, he hit that game winner, and ever since he hit that game winner, they've been just giving him minutes. So whatever happened there, I think that's one of those things where they're the Philadelphia is a prisoner of the moment, and giving Korkmaz these minutes. And to be honest, they need to be Thybulle needs to be getting those minutes and getting more acquainted with the NBA, getting up to speed quicker. Because just looking at those two guys playing, Thybulle's the more complete player. He just needs the opportunity. And so hopefully that changes. But right now, Korkmaz is the guy getting those minutes in Philadelphia. So that's unfortunate at this time. And all my people who picked up Raw NATO, I'm one of them. Sorry.
Sharknado.
Sharknado. Hey, we've been sharked, all right. Ben Simmons is back, so luckily the injury wasn't too bad. But I'll go ahead and switch the game over to one of Starks' favorite teams. Actually, two of his favorite teams going at it. Yeah, Pacers and the Thunder. And looks like the Pacers went 111 to Oklahoma City's 85. Looks like the Thunder had a very bad offensive game. SGA, 3 for 11, and 6 rebounds, only 11 points. What do you think, Starks? You looking at these lines? They all look awful.
Buy low if you can on SGA. But I'll say this real quick. on Hamidou Diallo. He gets to start. Love to see that. Although it was 22 minutes, and I know Jacob actually had him on his streaming article. Guys, check that out on newlifefantasy.com. Definitely valuable and handy for you guys to get into a potential championship in the playoffs if you hit those blogs there. There you go, brother. And, looking at that, just to give you guys an idea, because we record not just on the podcast now, but we're universal on the YouTube as well. So with that said, but the thing is with OKC in particular, I'll just say it like this. They're a team that could potentially be a wasteland team as time progresses on. It's a real thing. It's coming, right? You can't hide from it. I know Chris Paul is going to kind of take a back seat, which is understandable because at this point in time, this is SGA's team. It's simple as that. I thought it might be a little bit different, and maybe we thought Chris Paul was going to potentially go to Miami Heat, but Miami Heat, I'll be honest, they don't need him. You see the guard situation there. They're doing well just fine without him, right? So could Chris Paul, and I know there was rumors circulating that he could go to he wanted to play with the Greek Freak. And I just think, there's a lot of reports, we can get all these rumors, but what's funny, when trades actually happen, they go to the complete opposite team that we don't even know who they go to, right? And it's just, it always almost happens like that in the NBA. But that's what makes the NBA so beautiful, right? So as far as OKC goes, like I said, I think it was good finally to get the heck out of Dodge with this Terrence Ferguson train. Hopefully this stands to be moving forward, but maybe it doesn't. Noel still does Noel things. Nintendo DS, Dennis Schroeder. He's still going to get bench minutes. And then obviously one guy I'll talk about is Basley. He's just another guy that I just want to mention. If you can go ahead and transition to the Indiana side, unless you want to touch up on anything over there, LT. On Oklahoma.
Nah, everyone did awful on OKC side. You're good. Go ahead.
So if we could transition to the Pacers side, right? So going on to the Indiana side of things, this was a beautiful game, and obviously like Malcolm in the middle, Brogdon. Mm-hmm. I mean, we can keep juicing at orange, but I'll leave the listeners' ears alone on that. But as you guys know, before I pass the ball, I'm going to talk about TJ Warren just because I can. He's still a breakout player that I believe that is potentially there. He did well tonight, right? 10 for 14, got you a snipe. He did well. I think he might have. Did he sneak in a slap? Did I catch that?
Yeah, he stuck in a slap. One block.
Nice. And two steals. That's a beautiful game with 23 points. So the thing is, I know when we had basically the Fox 4 with Lewis on here, I think we were 2-2 split, and I think Jacob and Lewis was on the side of selling high on TJ Warren, which is understandable. And I think me and LT was on the buy low side, or buy him while you can. And the thing is that he'll be fine. It's just the issue is if he's going to be on the court. It is a risk, but I think he's typically a top 75 player or better. To be safe, he's more of a top 100 player or better. The thing is, obviously, we know Dippo is going to come back. And obviously, let me say this. Here's another thing I think I meant to mention. Dippo was playing 5-on-5 practice, I think, the first time. So that was a beautiful thing to hear. Now, how is that going to mesh with that team in particular and their dynamic, as LT says, how the team's dynamic is going to change with Malcolm in the middle, Brogdon. And then when Miles Turner gets back, I'm going to love the Indiana Pacers when they're at full strength to see what they do. I'm really excited to get Dippo. I need to get a Dippo shirt or jersey. Because and I can't wait. I want to see how that works. But TJ Warren, once they're all together, then that's when his production can slip, and that would make more sense on Jacob and Lewis' side. But I still will stick to my guns and just hope for the best that TJ Warren could be that player moving forward. But I'll pass you the ball there, White Knight. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, so really quick on the Thunder side with Hamidou Diallo. I had him as one of my top streamers because everything was lining up perfectly. With Ferguson out, he was starting. But unfortunately, on a game that was supposed to be pretty much a pick'em, it was supposed to go back and forth. It was a 26-point blowout. So a lot of the starters here, as you can see, they played like garbage. So yeah. Because of that, Diallo didn't get 30 minutes, whereas he would have gotten you another steal or two. He would have gotten you some more points and maybe like a rebound or an assist. So, I mean, like that's what I was expecting. But this was kind of like an outlier game. I don't know why they played so poorly, but I'll give props to the Pacers here. I'll switch back to the Pacers. And as far as your guys' love for Warren goes, I still am on the side of, if I'm an owner right now and I'm seeing these gaudy stats, I'm excited because I'm like, now I can actually say like, hey, he's getting these consistent, all the stock stats and points. What can you offer me? Because like you said, Starks, once Oladipo comes back and once Turner comes back, it's going to muddy up everything as far as distribution. So I'd be looking to sell high, but I understand if you just want to keep riding that wave, because Oladipo, he's supposed to come back in December, but I mean, it was a gruesome injury. So who knows exactly when he's going to come back. You're still going to get that production from Warren across the board, especially in points and field goal percentage. As far as the bench goes, upsetting to see Holiday not do much at all. I mean, I was hoping that he would get you some stock stats and stuff. TJ McConnell as a deep league ad. I kind of combined that league ad. He's a deep lad, guys.
Yeah, he is.
He's providing, and you gotta love this as an Aaron Holiday owner in deep dynasty leagues if you still have him on your team, because now the Pacers, once they get Sumner back, it's like, why do we play Sumner when Aaron Holiday's playing so great? Mm-hmm. So this is great to see as Holiday owner for sure. I'm going to pass the ball there to you, LT. Is there anything else you saw you see on the Pacers side?
Man, I hate to do this, but I'm actually going to go on an ISO rant here. And I don't like. Listen, I'm going to tell the listeners right now, I'm not a big Pacers guy. That adds to the rivalry. But what I wanted to just tell people is we got to look at the Pacers differently. The Pacers are actually a good team. If you look at tonight, I want to
actually, huh?
Yeah, they're actually a good team. They've been middle of the pack. They're actually a top team in the East. And the reason why I say that, I want you guys to look at this. They trotted out Malcolm Brogdon, Aaron Holiday, Domantas Sabonis, Jakar Sampson, and T.J. Warren, and defeated the Oklahoma City Thunder by like 26 plus points. That team, you tell me that team's going out there against Oklahoma City's main starters, and I'll tell you that they're going to lose. So when we talk about TJ Warren, when we talk about some of these other guys, this lineup's going to look completely different in about 2 to 3 months. Miles Turner wasn't there. Dippo wasn't there. Jeremy Lamb is injured. Goga, right. Your guy Goga Fett, he was injured as well. Yes. I mean, their whole team is injured. So you think about that. Some of these people that are in the rotation, we don't know what their rotations are going to look like here in the next couple of months. So yes, like Starks and like White Knight specifically said, ride TJ Warren, but I may be backtracking just a little bit. May want to think about selling only because when Dippo comes back, when Jeremy Lamb gets in there, when Miles Turner, man, there's going to be a lot of Brogdon. There's going to be a lot of ball to go around. So definitely keep an eye out, keep track of TJ. Some of the stuff he's doing is he's shooting over 50% on the year, right? That's not sustainable. So other than that, I'm going to pass the ball to Stark to see if you wanted to say anything. If not, we move on.
Hey, I loved it, man. You juiced that orange so well. You juiced it. So White Knight, I have nothing to say. I'll pass you the ball in the next game.
Yeah, so it looks like we're going to go to the Bulls and the Knicks game here. LT's got it hovered around there. We'll touch up first on a player, on a surprisingly efficient player here, RJ Barrett. He was 8 for 16 with 2 snipes, 9 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 steals. That's fantastic. That is high quality 9-cat and points league stats right there for sure. Nito Lakina, he's just like a flash in the pan. I still think that, I mean, he's still going to rack up those steals. So if you need steals, absolutely stream that man. But there's too many ball hogs here on this team to give him any sort of shot here. Like, look at that. 3 starters had 15-plus shot attempts. I mean, that's insane. So, I mean, that's all I got to say about the Knicks. I want to pass the ball there to you, LT. You see anything there?
Yeah, I just have to mention how Taj Mahal gets the start over Bobby Portis. I don't understand what the Knicks are doing. I mean, are you Fizdale? Like, what are you doing? Is this not the youth movement in New York? What is Taj Mahal doing getting 25 minutes over Bobby Portis? I don't understand. Are you trying to win games because you're on the hot seat? I don't know what he's doing. But Taj Gibson had a good game, actually. But you love to see RJ Barrett kind of bounce back after that load management. He actually had a day off. They actually gave him a day off recently as well. Julius Randle had a decent game, 5 for 15. I mean, very inefficient, but I mean, you expect that from Jay Randall. He's just going to shoot the ball, and I got to mention it. I'm gonna leave your guy for last, Starks. I'm gonna leave your guy for last because I know there's a guy that finally played tonight that I'm sure you want to speak on. But Marcus Morris is continuing his streak of good play. 9 rebounds, almost got you a double-double, got you 1 slap for fun, and he's still continuing his tear. But I'm gonna go ahead and behind the back pass it to you, Starks, on somebody I see on the bench here.
Yeah, there's no need to talk about it. Well, actually, I'm going to talk about it anyway because I'm going to eat this crow all year. That's fine. DSJ finally comes back. I think he had a couple steals though, at least, right?
2 swipes.
But obviously, 2 swipes. But obviously, he did nothing in 14 minutes. But let me say this real quick because you talked about Morris already. I'm going to say it like this: the Knicks are so poor. I'll be honest with you. This team is so poor. I was like before you were talking about was it Marcus or is that Markieff Morris? No, that's Marcus Morris, right?
Marcus.
So before you even said that, I was thinking in my mind, looking at that, I was like, man, I want to actually buy, and this is like funny to say, I actually want to buy shares on Marcus Morris just because I know he's just going to jack up a lot of shots, and just because Fizdale does not care, and just because Marcus Morris doesn't care. If you give him any minutes, if any signs of life, it doesn't matter what team he's on, he's going to take shots. So with that said, I would be willing to take him in any team format. If you're punting, field goal percentage, or it doesn't matter because you know him all about that pumping up the volume, because if he gets minutes, he's not going to give up a shot. But that's all I have for the Knicks. And just like what Jacob said about Frank Ntilikina, he's definitely worth streaming, particularly. And I know I kept getting a lot of questions in regards to, oh, man, is he going to start like the rest of the season? Like, no, he's not. You know why? Because he's on Fizdale's team, right? So I'll pass the ball there. White Knight.
Oh, White Knight.
Yeah. So going to the bull side of the ball, since I dropped an article today about him, we're going to talk about Lauri Markkanen here real quick. He's still struggling. You love to see those rebounds and the perfect free throw attempts and the steal and block. That's lovely. But he went 4 for 10 because Zach LaVine's hucking up 19 shots. And in a game where I'll let Starks talk about this guy, but Kobe White had a crazy good game here off the bench, rookie Kobe White. So Lauri Markkanen's not really taking the Bulls by the horn. Taking those shots. But it's coming, guys. I don't know when though. I don't know. I mean, it could be a week from now. It could be 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now. But unfortunately, he's only taking what's given to him, and he's letting Zach LaVine shoot all these shots, unfortunately. But he still had a decent game. He got you exactly what you needed in a 9-cat league and a points league. It's just that he's not performing as well as what we would like to see for sure out of how much talent he has. And then I'm going to pass the ball here to Starks and talk about your boy Kobe White and all those snipes he had.
Yeah, I'll say this. He's definitely not my boy, but I'll say this. With
Dynasty
all those guards. Well, yeah, definitely a dynasty situation. Kobe White is a guy that you want to have on your team just because of the potential talent that he has. It's not. I'm gonna be honest. It's not a super amount of talent behind him. I think he had 7 threes tonight. But I'll just say it like this. In particular, about him is it's that musical chair game there in Chicago, and I know it's. Like, oh, it's Thomas Satoransky. Like, I want to, everybody was like, I want to buy all the stocks, and I was just like saying, man, I don't want to do that. In particular, it's a scary situation. Chicago, what's their record now? It's looking like 4-7. So with that said, I got nothing too much to say, but I will say about Lauri Markkanen, I'm glad that you're sticking behind him, White Knight, because hopefully, if you believe in the tooth fairy and you find something under your pillow, I hope that you can find the tooth fairy with the tooth under your pillow, because if it's still there, then you know that you didn't get the cash underneath that pillow. But I'll pass you the ball there, LT.
Yeah, tooth fairy indeed. I wanted to just. We had talked about Markkanen before White Knight, and exactly what we said is what's happening. Levine is just jacking up all these shots, and Markkanen has to demand the ball. He has to get aggressive and start taking more shots. I would love to see his per number averages with about 15 to 16 shots a game, and that's what he deserves. But is he going to get it? I just don't know. And it's like two teams that I just don't understand what they're doing. Why isn't Kobe White starting? Why isn't Kobe White starting in Chicago? Is Thomas Satoransky the future, or is Kobe?
They paid him, right?
Right, exactly.
It's crazy to me. And then I got that Young with 30 minutes. Like, what is happening? Like, it's crazy. Yeah. And Chris Dunn, like, yeah, in Dynasty, Kobe White's definitely a good play. I wanted to mention Wendell Carter had another good game. I know I gave him some flack the other day, but he has strung a couple of good games. Don't like those free throws, but 7 for 11. Hey, he's open, 7 days a week. And then 12 rebounds, and he didn't get no blocks or steals. You want to see him, add a couple of those, but he did good. So I just want to let the listeners know that Wendell is doing okay now.
And let me steal the ball.
Go ahead.
I'll steal the ball. Chandler Hutchison, did I see that right? Did he start for Chicago? Did I see that right?
You did see that.
Yeah. Chicago, man, what are you doing? So just to kind of like, I'm kind of playing with you though, Jacob. So let me say this. I think Lauri Markkanen at this point, some point in the year, I think he's going to, as you guys say, take the bulls by the horn. Yeah. I think it has to happen. I don't see why they're going to just play this. If they continue to play like this, and if they lose, I don't see why he's not going to start jacking up with a lot of shots. It may be a while, but that's something that I'm going to be also paying attention to, and that's important. So if we can move on to the next game, guys.
Okay. I think other games are actually still going. Yeah, those are all games that have finished, I think. Actually, no, Atlanta. Oh, there's a couple of games that have just finished. We'll go ahead and switch over to this Lakers-Phoenix game. Anthony Davis still, you said he went down, but he still played 37 minutes, it looks like. Maybe he did come back in.
Yeah, he went to the locker room twice.
Okay, twice. He still killed it. He still killed it on this team. 9 for 17, 12 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block, and he had 24 points. LeBron had a great game as well. 8 for 18. Not as efficient as you want him to be, but got you. Ooh. Just saw those free throws. Come on, LeBron. 11 assists though, 7 rebounds, and with 19 points. I'm actually gonna pass the ball over to you, Starks. Do you see this JaVale McGee line? I know we were talking about him earlier with Wanaman.
Yeah, I gotta say JaVale McGee. I mean, I'm probably dropping him. Obviously he's dropping in shallow leagues. Mm-hmm. Dynasty formats. I mean, how is your team? How deep is the league? But honestly, I don't really care for him anymore. I mean, just like the listener asked why we were recording here, I'm just going to take the Wanamaker over him just because I'm going to shoot for the small upside. We know what JaVale McGee could be, but it looks like Dwight Howard is getting more minutes than him, right? And then Dwight Howard he was okay, and then he started fading. So that big man situation with the center spot, I'm cool on the Lakers as far as that goes. So, and then Caruso is still a guy in a dynasty format. He's okay. But I think Kyle Kuzma, I know he gets a lot of flack in the, fantasy community. And honestly, to be honest with you, it's the opposite. People like Kuzma so much for some reason. He's okay, guys. I'm gonna be honest, in points league, it makes sense in the points league. But if he's not giving you points, then who is he? That's what I kind of question in the 9-cat category league. So I'll pass you the ball there, White Knight.
Yeah, interestingly, I was asked by a listener today if they should stream either Diallo or Kuzma, and I went with Diallo just because of the opportunity, and he actually offers you some stock stats across the board, whereas Kuzma, even in this game, I think he fell into that steal. Like, there's no way that he earned that steal, he just gets you points and, like, low-end points, even though he had, like, 20-something points. But, like, he'll get you anywhere from, like, 12 to 15 points and 4 to 5 rebounds, and that's him, And if he doesn't score, he just has a few rebounds, and that's it, like you said, Stark. So, yeah, I'll always take the guy who offers stock stats over someone who just scores, for sure. I want to transition to the Suns side of the ball here, and I've heard a lot of debate lately, just because of Aaron Baines' strong play, that when DeAndre Ayton comes back, that Ayton should come off the bench. Just to not, I guess, that's low. So it sounds like LT is raring to go here. What do you think about that, dude?
Oh, man. That can't happen. That just can't happen. DeAndre Ayton has to play, right? He has to start. He's a starter. But let me tell you this. The Bane, feel the venom. He is killing it. He is absolutely killing it. And it's funny. We used to make. I'm gonna go on a little ISO rant here about Lewis. Lewis used to use this guy in 2K. Way back in the day, he used to be on the Spurs, and he was on this. He would use him exclusively. He would take this guy in the paint. This is before he was good, and he used to score on me with this guy, with Aaron Baines, and he used to yell out, "Feel the venom," every single time. And I can't believe this guy is hitting threes. I can't believe this guy is putting up 20-point games on a regular basis, and it's just crazy to me. So if you have Aaron Baines, you hold on to him, but if you love, that's music to your ears. If they're talking about keeping him in that starting lineup, even when Aiden comes back, that's music to your ears. Hopefully that holds true, but it won't. But you got to still hope that it does. What do you think about that, Starks?
Oh man, I was trying to get off to see. I was trying to see where he was at in ADP right now. You juicing that orange, it really wanted me to just look. I'll use it for probably the clutch shot. Yeah, you think so? He probably is. That is just gross. Like that is no joke.
He sniped.
But the thing is,
four snipes tonight.
4 snipes.
My
goodness. Listen, let me say this. I don't know if you guys remembered. I said this before the season started. I said, I know there's a lot of wasteland teams, but I said Phoenix. I said, I think they might be. Yeah. I don't think there will be a wasteland team this year. I don't know if you guys remember when I said that. But we're still way too early in the season. But that Ricky Rubio pickup, people were kind of like, what are you guys doing? You guys got all those guards, but they're doing okay. You got to give respect. It's a good sight to see. I mean, obviously they lost this game, but that's just interesting to see. But kind of going into this, as you was juicing that orange on Baines, I'm going to say this: Kelly Oubre starting to cool off a little bit, just a tad bit. But the thing about Oubre is, I think Jacob, I think you were backing him up, and I still think Oubre has some brighter days to come too. So Phoenix, I'm gonna be honest, Phoenix is low key an exciting team to kind of see how they're going to orchestrate bringing Ayton back. But that is an interesting question because people have been kind of saying that. I think I've heard that too, Jacob. That when DeAndre Ayton comes back, is he going to come off the bench? When I heard that, I was just like, I didn't know if that was real or not, but it was real what I heard. So I don't know how to take that, but I'll pass you the ball there, Jacob.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's kind of ridiculous, but it makes sense because he's doing so well. But I think Baines is more of a energy off the bench guy, and you have to set the tone with Ayton out there. But I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting question, and definitely he has warranted that. Absolutely. But I think that's all I got on the Suns side here. Anyone else want to touch up on anything else on this game?
No. I just wanted to make sure to let everyone know that Rondo did play this game. He played 14 minutes for the Lakers with 7 assists and 6 rebounds. So just and he hit a snipe. So just keep an eye out on Rondo. See if he gets more minutes as he ramps up and takes minutes away from either Bradley or Green. So just wanted to put that out there.
Rondo always gets those assists, man.
Man, crazy. He finds a way.
He does.
All right. If you want to jump into, what is it, the Hawks game?
Yeah, the Hawks game. So the Hawks played against the Denver Nuggets, 125-121. And not surprising enough, Trae Young looks like he had a game. And he had a game indeed. 8 snipes. 13 for 21. Who was that? Murray's pomade sticking him? Who was sticking him? 8 snipes, 8 for 11 free throws, 11 assists. Had a block. I don't know who he's blocking, but he got a block. 42 points, and this guy is just a madman in fantasy. I mean, he came back quicker from his injury than I thought he would. And if Herter's going down, he's probably Bembry's gonna pick up some time, but you probably can see Young shooting a little bit more. And before I switch it over, I want to talk about a guy that we were gushing over earlier, end of last week and earlier this week, and that's Jabari Parker.
Yeah.
18 shots. He put up 18 shots. He is, looks like John Collins is out. He is the second guy. He is the second guy on this team right now. And I was kind of worried because I was thinking maybe Crab Cakes was going to come in here and do something, but he didn't even play. 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 20 points for Jabari. Man, White Knight, what do you see from this Atlanta team?
Yeah, man, I see. As you said, man, Parker is definitely the number 2. I mean, like, he's looking like his old Bucks self right now. I mean, like, he's just, like he looks like that promising guy before all of his injuries right now, and that's great to see. I mean, he's not offering you any stock stats, but we all know that's not him. He offers you those points and those rebounds, and he's getting you all those minutes. I mean, he better be owned everywhere right now. And then if you need to stream steals and blocks, you better do that some other way because he's not going to offer you that. But, like, he's doing great. As we were talking about earlier, Bembry is definitely the pickup here as we wait on word on Porter there. But yeah, I mean, that's and Damian Jones is a deep league ad for sure. Anything else you see there, Starks?
No, I just want to – actually, I do, but I just want to actually go ISO on Kobe White again. From my understanding, he scored 23 points in the fourth quarter. That's outrageous.
Whoa. Wow. I didn't know that.
He went nuclear. So, yeah, actually, I do have something on Trae Young in particular because we're in a deep – all of us, I'm glad that you're in that anniversary league with us, Jacob, and it is good to get you back in that league, LT. I was in the back end at the 12th spot, and – You gotta basically take a shot on a player that could potentially be like, I'm not saying he's going to finish first round value, but you got to take a shot, like, because if Kawhi is not there, because I know people are going to be like kind of concerned in the draft because of load management, but if Kawhi is not there or Bradley Beal's not there, like, who's probably the next guy? I was like, man, I'm just going to put my chips in on Trae Young, so that feels good. Now I did miss on this one. I was taking Drew Holiday. I'll say this, Drew Holiday is a buy low player for those listeners, just to give you a heads up. But he hasn't been doing good this year, and that was my other back-to-back spot. But kind of going back to this, in particular, if you could scroll up there, LT on the Atlanta side is DeAndre Hunter. Now, he didn't get the stats, but he got those minutes, right? So the thing about this is, hopefully they start. I think sometimes when you have rookies getting this many minutes, it can sometimes mean two things, right? The coach trusts him to be on the court. That's number one. And number two, the coach could entrust him to do a little bit either facilitating or be more of an aggressive type of player to try to score more, or just be more of a defender, right? So they gushed about him before this season a little bit secretly under the radar. So in a dynasty format, I'm going to say this real quick. Although he's not giving you those sexy stats right now, and he's not being hyped or echoed, you're not hearing any hype train on it, I like to go against the grain on sometimes where people don't talk about players. And that gives you that's a little bit of a secret cheat code that I like to dive into certain players like him that people are not talking about, because things can change on a dime. And he's a player that could change on a dime, because the thing is, it was like Cam Reddish or is it DeAndre Hunter? And that's always been tough. And it still could be Cam Reddish better, right? It could be potentially. But one thing that you have to still take in consideration is that Hunter was getting the gushing in the beginning. So like the echo and the hype train was coming, but now it's already calmed down and it's gone. So I go against the grain, and maybe the listeners as well should go against the grain and try to buy low in a dynasty format, deep league. And what you can use for your arsenal is like, although he got the minutes, you could be like, hey, he's not really doing anything. This is even without who is it? John Collins. Right. You got Jabari Parker doing all this, right? And Trae Young. So Hunter is not the guy. So that's what you're going to utilize and try to poach him from an owner, right? And give him like an older veteran type of player if you're trying to build for the long term in the youth movement in a dynasty league. So I'll pass you the ball there, LT, if you have anything else there, man.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and move on over to the Nuggets side. Oh, I do want to just say one quick thing. Alex Len did play more minutes than Damian Jones and had a pretty efficient and good game as well. So if John Collins doesn't come back, I wonder if they play some more musical chairs there and start Len next game. Definitely something to keep your sage eyes on. Yeah, we could switch over to Denver. Gary Harris is a guy we've been talking about that we've definitely expected to do better, and he has another. Yeah. He's getting the minutes, but he has another flop of a game. 4 for 15. He shot 15 of his shots. 10 of those were threes, and he's just not connecting on those 3-pointers this year. Had 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Did you get you 2 swipes if you still have them in deep leagues? But I know recently we told you may want to look. He was a cut candidate. So just keep your eyes out for Gary. He's still getting 40 minutes. I hate to cut a guy that's getting 40 minutes. He has to bust through and produce eventually. But one of the guys that I've picked up and I have in almost, I think maybe 3 out of 4 of my leagues is Will Barton. I mean, man, Carton Barton. He had 4 snipes, 8 for 16, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and he's usually good for a couple of stock stats and got you 1 swipe in this game. So I'm going to pass the rock over to you, White Knight. Anybody on here you wanted to specifically talk about or you wanted to tell the listeners about?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go over Michael Porter Jr. He got 6 minutes tonight, and that's exactly what you guys are going to see probably from a night-to-night basis until probably around the All-Star break if injuries happen. If there are no injuries, then don't expect him to play much. I mean, if you are holding on to him in like a deep league, keep holding on maybe and hoping for, like minutes to become available, but he's not going to step into that role organically with such a deep Nuggets team. And anyone who is out there that's listening or watching that's holding on to Bol definitely stop hoping for that too. Like he needs a trade in the worst way for him to get any sort of playing time for sure. But So I'm gonna pass the rock here to Starks here. Do you have any thoughts on the players I just touched up on, or anyone else on the Nuggets?
Just I think you guys touched up on pretty much everything. The Joker, he did all right. He was inefficient though, unfortunately. But I was gonna say this, kind of doubling down is what LT was saying. Like Gary Harris, one thing that's good to see, he took 15 shots. Obviously, super inefficient. But in a shallow league, it's hard for me to say that. Well, obviously in a shallow league, you're gonna cut him. You know, I'll be honest. Like in a 10-man league, you cut Davidson. That's pretty easy to say. Even probably essentially maybe in a 12-man league, but I would be super aggressive if he has just one good game. He's just like an immediate add. That's what I have for him. But you guys pretty much touched up on everything else. Monty Morris is going to just be a borderline to give you some time from time to time. And then Jeremy Grant, again, I've just told you guys, like, it sucks when he got moved over to Denver. Denver just has so much talent there. It's just hard for everybody to get on the court. And just like what Jacob said about Bobo, man, like, how did he fall that late in the draft, right? So it's going to be almost borderline impossible for him to get on the court unless Denver has such a good record and they make the playoff, like during the regular season, they lock it down and then he'll get minutes. But that's it. You know, that's all I got for that.
All right, good. So yeah, I don't got nothing else on that. Pretty much, I think we've touched up on pretty much every single game. Did we talk about Brooklyn? I think that's the last. Yeah, I think that's the last game. Yeah, that's the last game. Of course, Portland's losing to Sacramento Kings because we're awful. Anyways, so I don't even want to. Man. Anyways, I do want to speak on this Brooklyn game real quick, and we have a retro DJ sighting. 6 for 8. 3 from 4 from Charity, 17 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 15 points from DJ. Had a resurgence game in a losing effort. I'll pass the rock over to you, White Knight. Did you see anything else on as far as Brooklyn side that you want to touch on other than DJ coming out of nowhere?
Yeah, huge thing that I have to bring up is Kyrie Irving taking 30 shots. That's insane. Man, I don't think having Kyrie there is good for anyone's how do you say, development. Like Spencer Dinwiddie, I thought he was going to have a huge year this year. And he actually took 16 shots in this game, which is great. He had 21 points, 4 assists, a rebound, and 2 snipes. But Kyrie Irving's taking shots from everyone. He's taken 30 shots. He only made 10. He was 10 for 30. And as fun as he is, you know, like to watch on like a one-on-one situation, he's definitely capping all of the value around him. Like Taurean Prince only took 9 shots. Jared Allen, he only took 2 shots, and usually he takes like 5 to 7 shots. He only took 2 shots. So Kyrie's definitely hogging, and it's going to be crazy to see next year how he's going to divvy up the shots with Durant. But yeah, I mean that's all I got to say over here. I'm going to pass the ball there to you, Starks.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of seeing. I know I didn't just see Shirley Temple, man. That's all I got. Like,
oh, it's just because Harris LeVert's out.
Man, listen. Regardless if he's in or out, man, I should never be seeing Shirley Temple, Garrett Temple out there, man. That just makes me gross and sick in my stomach. Listen, like. Garrett Temple, like, man, why is he out there? Listen, man, Spencer Dinwiddie, just start him. Stop trying to be cute, man. Like, come on, Brooklyn. I understand you want to punch off the bench. And where's Rodions Caruks? Did he even get in the game? Like, he get minutes or no? It doesn't even look like he got minutes. Like, I'm tired of this. How are you guys going to play my guy, Krusty the Clown, Rodions Caruks, man? You don't do that. And then Danza Musa, go ahead and listen. I think Musa and Claxton is going to be guys in the Dynasty format that you need to pay attention to as well later in the future. Now, Brooklyn, if they start continuing to lose and it goes super in the youth movement, of course, Kyrie is going to play hopefully most of the season. But just like we were talking way earlier, beginning of the season, some of these games that Kyrie has, like when he dropped 50 points or something one game or 40 points, something like that.
and they still lost, and he did that in vain. It's a recipe of disaster. And what I mean by that is Kyrie Irving, he's obviously an excellent player and an excellent fantasy player, but come on, man, like just still utilize your team at this point in time. I just think, and hold on, a report came up. Anthony Davis says it's important for him to play through the pain, so he's got ribs and shoulder pain right now. So
at least it's not his legs.
Yeah. What'd you say, Jacob?
I said sell high or sell him if you can before it gets way too serious and like he has to sit out. I would definitely sell high as he's trying to play through the pain. Go ahead.
Yeah. But no, I was just gonna say, like, also, like you guys have mentioned, like Jared Allen not even getting missed because of DeAndre Jordan. I don't got anything else. I'll just, like I said, just pay attention to Musa and Claxton, and obviously you guys played. The coach played me on Krusty the Clown, Roddy Karuk, so I'll pass you the ball there, LT.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like Donovan Mitchell and Kyrie Irving forgot they were playing an NBA game, decided to go street ball. Donovan Mitchell shot it 26 times.
Yeah,
but he was way more efficient. I mean, the game was a close game, so I do want to just mention that, even though I know not to like try to give Kyrie respect for shooting 30 times, but Mitchell did shoot at 26, was a little bit more efficient, had 1 swipe, 2 assists, 6 rebounds. And the main guy in this game that I wanted to touch on is our guy, Rudy Gobert. We haven't talked about him much this year, but he had a great game. 8 for 10 from field goal, so that's what you get him for those high percentages. 15 rebounds and 2 steals and 2 blocks. I haven't really seen a high block game from Gobe this year. Maybe I missed a couple. I'm gonna check his stats real quick, but he's been maybe pretty quiet on the blocks front this year, and so it's good to see him get a couple more stock stats going there. Yeah, he's his highest was 3, and that was a couple games, 5 or 6 games back. So. You want to see him get more of those popcorn block stats like he used to, those 5, 6 block stats. But I'm going to pass the rock over to you, Starks. Anybody else on this Jazz team you wanted to talk about?
No, I think it was a good point that you brought Gobert because we barely talk about him. I avoid him in a lot of leagues. Not to say he's not a good player because he is in fantasy. Just like you had mentioned, LT, the percentages that he does well. Not the free throw, not the charity stripe, but the field goal percentage. But the blocks are starting to soak away. And I think when it comes to big man, what people have to realize, once you start getting a little bit older, those blocks are going to decrease a lot quicker than sooner or later, right? So that's one thing to pay attention to because hopefully I don't want to put that evil on him, Ricky Bobby is the quote, right? And the thing is, what makes me think about is who was a block. Okay, like DeAndre Jordan, for instance. We knew he was a good player for a few years, and as you can see, he used to be like a 2.4 blocks type of guy. It's starting to soak away. And when DeAndre Jordan starts to have those blocks soak away, and although we were talking about him just now, his rebounds were good, but after those rebounds, and who are you if you're not getting those blocks? So you got to be careful with that type of stuff. So I'm not saying that's coming Gobert's way. He still has some good years left in him. But going back to Utah, Donovan Mitchell, as LT highlighted on, he's a player that I consider a bounce-back player because I know a lot of people were frustrated with him last season in particular. I think this is the year he gets back. But real quick on Mike Conley, looks like he's trying to play a little bit better. That free throw line, he missed all of his snipes. It's still a buy low. I don't know if I'm willing to buy low on him, but maybe in a redraft league I could consider it. Dynasty league, I'm be honest, I'm staying away from him unless my situation is a little bit different. But I'm not trying to buy him in a dynasty format. And as far as Joe Ingles goes, he's been struggling this year. Redraft format, I think I've been getting a lot of questions. Do I drop him? I'm always going to ask you how deep your league is. If you're in a 10-man, 10-man league, you cut bait. 12-man league, yeah, it's probably borderline. And then 14-man league, I guess you can maybe potentially stream that spot. But I wouldn't go so fast to drop him because he's still getting the minutes off the bench regardless. So, and then as we clown about Royce the 5'9", right? O'Neal's getting, he's still starting. But one thing I'll say this real quick, and I'll probably get his name wrong. Bojan
Bojanovic, I think that might be correct.
Mm-hmm.
He's been he's been underrated this year, under the radar in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
He's scoring over 20 points a game. And the thing is with him in particular, he's just typically a scorer, right? But the thing is, you can't ignore the stuff he's doing this year in particular, but it's not to say if there's a sell high moment, he's one of those players. So I think it's going to be consistent through this year. I don't think so, but these stats are pretty good. I'll say that, needless to say. I'll pass you the ball there, Jacob.
Yeah. I think you guys touched up on everything there. I do think that better days are ahead for Joe Ingles because, as you said, he is getting those minutes. I think he works better with the starting unit. So hopefully they make the switch. O'Neal coming off the bench. But that's all I got for the Jazz. If I see Joe Ingles in my 12-man or my 14-man league just like sitting there on the waiver wire, I'm definitely going to add him up. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so I think that's all the games. So at this point in time, we'll start getting ready to take the clutch shots. Before we get to the clutch shots, if you can go to the website real quick, LT, newlifefantasy.com. Again, I know this is a commercial, but hey, you guys can take it in. Just make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast. Give us a 5-star rating, write a review if you have iTunes, and obviously we're available on all podcast formats in our site, newlifefantasy.com. Join as a member and also join the mailing list. So whenever a blog comes out or article comes out, it's going to be sent to you email or via text through your phone at the bottom that you can plug it in at. And at the same time, I think like I said, I was making adjustments to the website. It should be a little bit faster and smoother for you guys. I'm still making edits on there as well. The YouTube channel is up. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the thumbs up button, Sub-Zero at the bottom. So make sure you do that. It definitely helps us out. And I got that new, at least a tablet there, as LT picked up there perfectly fine. It got you all of the episodes that we have on YouTube right now, so you guys can see our faces. My mask is off. I'm ready. LT is ready on the corner. As you look at above me, the White Knight. So I will pass you the ball there, White Knight, if you want to take a clutch.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Starks. So for my clutch shot tonight, I wanted to give a clutch shot to Evansville, knocking off number one ranked Kentucky. Now, if you don't know Evansville, I didn't. They're a small school. They're a small school in Indiana with just over 2,500 students there. So, I mean, that was a huge upset. I think Kentucky was favored by 25 points, and they actually paid Evansville to play them. They paid them $90,000 for an easy win. Evansville beat them. And so that's awesome. And there is a player on Kentucky's team. His name is Tyrese Maxey. He's coming. He is a freshman this year. He's supposed to go somewhere in the lottery, just outside the lottery. But he's someone that I would definitely keep an eye on for all of you Dynasty heads out there, just because if he falls in the right situation in the draft, he could score for a team, he could steal for a team, and he could definitely develop into something nice. So I would definitely keep tabs on him as the season progresses for sure. So that's my clutch shot there. I guess I'll pass the ball there to you, LT. What's your clutch shot, brother?
Yeah, thanks, brother. I wanted to add to your story real quick. I don't know if the listeners know, but the coach of Evansville is actually an alma mater of Kentucky. which adds even more of a funny fact to it. He's actually, graduated from Kentucky and, came back and beat his alma mater team, which is one of the big stunners in the NCAA so far, basketball. But my clutch shot is just, guys, take a look at our YouTube, Take a Ride podcast. I'm posting videos every morning. I'm going to try to keep posting those as early as possible every day so that you guys can get access to it right away, no matter where you're at in the world. So just if you have any updates or any suggestions for the website, for the YouTube, please let me know. Post a comment. Let us know what you would like to see, whether it be sound, whether it be visuals. I am working on getting these visuals kind of working out and getting them a little better. But we're working through it. So I appreciate any suggestions you have. I love all the questions coming in and the listeners, and we appreciate everything you provide for us here at New Life Fantasy.
Yeah, and I was going to say this. I guess I got a couple of clutch shots, but I guess I'll try to tie it into one because you guys know I'm long-winded. So let me say this real quick. There was one of the comments on YouTube that was funny. He was like, this wasn't how I pictured Starks. So I asked the listener, I don't know if you've seen that comment, LT. So I guess my question is to the listener, what did you think I look like, man? Here I am, right? So, but I'll say this. I guess my clutch shot, though, is going to be more the lines of juicing the orange on Bobby Boucher, Chris Boucher, right? Boucher. I'll say this. I'm going to be honest. If I can get him in any leagues, and this is me juicing the orange, if I can get him in any leagues, I'm excited to if there's anything that I enjoy the most in fantasy, I know people are like, all Starks does is take people on for rides and trades. Honestly, that's not necessarily true. What I like to do is define the player that obviously people talk about, but I'd like to try to work as hard as I can to get a player before the echo and hype train comes out, before people talks about. That's what I enjoy the most, because if I can do the research and get that gem on a player, it gets me more excited, because I always look at as the opera system. And I know LT probably is not familiar with the opera system that I created. So for those that are not familiar with it, and I probably need to do an article on, I just haven't had time. So opera, the standing of a formula that I created: O for opportunity, P for per 36 numbers, E is an echo, R is in ride, and A is in age, right? They say age is nothing but a number, but when it comes to fantasy, it's a whole different story in ball game, because you cannot be age, right? So about Chris Boucher, he's getting the minutes now because of Ibaka, right? Ibaka is going to be gone indefinitely. And as you guys probably already heard me juicing the orange on him so hard that I'm aggressive to say, I can see him, if he was to play start over Gasol, he would outproduce him, right? I really believe that, just because of Marc Gasol. I still like Marc Gasol because of the veteran, experience. But I remember, I think it was Jacob saying, and it's a good point, I think this was a while ago, that he had mentioned, Gasol's already got his championship, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not that he's not going to play hard, but he knows he just needs to do enough to get the job done, right? Because he's already got the championship. So, when it comes to the youth movement, the young people, the young bloods want to get that opportunity. Just like Pascal Siakam, he took, as Jacob said, took the bull by the horns when he got the opportunity. I love players that get the opportunity. Now, I missed on Pascal Siakam because, I'll say this. I thought he was going to be a good player, but not to how great he is, like Pascal is from last year. But juicing this orange on Chris Boucher, is it sustainable? Maybe, maybe not. But I know now, as you guys know, the hype train that Echo is out on him, and hopefully he gets strong minutes the rest of the season at some point. Regardless if Ibaka comes out, talent always overcomes at some point in time. And the last main thing I want to say is I used the cheat code from a locker room that I had to sneak in the White Knight's locker room and use his streaming article against LT this week. Although Bruce Almighty Brown failed me yesterday, Bruce Brown did me justice. As Jacob said, 11 assists. So I'm going to take that in the bank. And see, the thing is, when we get frustrated on adding a player, what I knew in the back of my head was, hey, Rose played Monday, right? Mm-hmm. So did Blake Griffin. There could be a chance that he has, or either one of them has a rest day. guess what? They both had a rest day.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, regardless if they had a rest day or not, I was still going to use Bruce Brown because of the back-to-back games that he had. I utilized Jacob's streaming article. As you can scroll down a little bit, if you can see that list of players, beautiful right there. Like, as you can see, oh, is it gone? Oh, they took it from us.
The chart's gone.
The chart is gone. Uh-oh.
Well,
I have to, man, that's not good.
We'll work on that
so,
for sure.
Yeah, we'll work on that, listeners. But that chart, and obviously, if you scroll up anyway, he gives you the back-to-back games, and that was a handy thing that I'm using against a rival of mine, LT. So hopefully you enjoyed these stats that are coming your way.
I only have Greek Freak twice this week, so hopefully that's enough.
and hopefully that 3-0 becomes 3-1 for you, right?
We'll see.
So you guys can find me on my Twitter handle. It's @Starks_industry. You can also find me on Instagram, OneClosingHero. Thank you guys for listening in. I will pass you the ball there, Jacob. Where can I find you at there, brother?
Thank you, brother. Yes, you can find me on Twitter @Ain'tDoneYet, and done is spelled DUNNE.
Ooh, little points, baby.
I'd love for you guys to follow me, and God bless you guys. I hope you have a great day.
Where can I find you, LT?
You can find me plotting on the waiver wire tonight, trying to pump up the volume for Wednesday's matchup.
Oh, you're dirty.
But no, you can find me at Twitter at Sage Network X. You can also find me on Instagram _Sage Network _. And again, I appreciate all the love, support we've been getting on Twitter. I've been getting on Twitter and on YouTube. Keep it coming, and we'll continue to improve for you guys.
All right, guys, we love you. Have a good evening, morning, afternoon, and take a ride.